Alright, this is Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. And with Star Wars X-Wing miniature game, these are my Rebel small ships, small fighter ships. So these are all the different types. I have multiples of each one, but I'm just going to show you one of each type. So the first ship that I will start off with is the X-Wing. And as the X-Wing goes, everybody, you're pretty familiar with the way this ship is. It's a very cool, it looks just like in the movies. Very cool, fast ship with a lot of firepower on this ship. This is the X-Wing, the ship that Luke Skywalker flew, most notably in the movies. And then the pilots that come along with the X-Wing is, of course, Luke Skywalker. So you got Luke Skywalker as the very first pilot. And his piloting skills for Luke Skywalker is 8. He has 3 attack. He has 2 agility. He has 3 hull and 2 shields. He has a front firing arc, so the arc is between the 2 red lines. So he shoots from the front side of the ship. He is, a fighter ship, so it would make sense. And then the other pilot you get is a Red Squadron pilot. He only has a piloting skill of 4, but he still has the attack of 3, agility of 2, hull of 3, and shields of 2. So that's your first 2 pilots that you get with the X-Wing. Then the other pilot that you get is Biggs Darklighter. Now Biggs has a piloting skill of 5. He still has only the front firing arc. He has an attack power of 3, an agility of 2, a hull of 3, and shields of 2. So Biggs is kind of a middle-of-the-road, fighter pilot, where Luke Skywalker has a piloting skill of 8. He's not quite as good as Han Solo, but a piloting skill of 8 is pretty high in this game. So then the rookie pilot, he's just the generic pilot. There's not too much with him. He has a piloting skill of just 2, but his attack power is 3, agility is 2, shields is 3, or hull is 3, shields is 2. So those are the 4 pilots that go along with the X-Wing. And again, so that's your X-Wing. And then on the movement dial, so every ship gets a movement dial. So with the movement dial, you can move forward 1. It's a pretty maneuverable ship. You can turn to the right 1. You can turn to the left 2. A sharp turn. This is a slight turn 2. This is a forward green maneuver, forward, and a 2 to the right. Sharp turn 2 to the right. Then he's got a sharp left 3, a slight left 3, a forward 3, and of course right and left 3s. Then he can blast forward 4, which is pretty good. He also has a U-turn. So he can do a U-turn. And then we're back. So that's the maneuvering of the X-Wing. It's a pretty maneuverable ship. It's a very fast ship. And if you have Luke Skywalker piloting it, of course, it's a pretty, you have a high piloting skill. So the next ship that we'll look at is the A-Wing. So this is the A-Wing. It is a super fast maneuverable ship. It's basically just a rocket and a cockpit. That's it. You got to be pretty crazy if you're going to fly in this ship compared to most of the other ships, just for how fast this thing is and how small it is, because it's basically just a cockpit and 2 giant engines. So this is super maneuverable ship, very fast, very quick, a lot of agility. All right, and then the first pilot that you get with this one is Taicho Salichu, and he's got a piloting skill of 8. He's got 2 attacks, so a little bit less than the X-Wing, but his agility is a 3. He's got 2 hull and, 2 shield. The other pilot is just the Green Squadron pilot, with that as a 3 piloting skill, a 2 attack, 3 agility, 2 hull, and 2 shields. So that's your first pilot, or the first 2 pilots. Second pilot is Arvel Krylida. I don't know. But he's got a 6 piloting skill. Again, just 2, 3, 2, 2. So it's pretty standard, loadout. And then you got the prototype pilot. The prototype pilot is just a 1. So he's got a really low piloting skill. And he's got a 2 agility, or 2 attack, 3 agility. So he's pretty much the same as everybody else. So that guy, awesome, 3 attack. His firing arc is just in front. So he's got just the same exact firing arc as pretty much all these small ships. So that was the A-Wing. And this is the A-Wing dial. So the A-Wing dial starts off, you have, a 1 turn, a 1 sharp turn, left and right. Then you have 2 sharp left turns. You have a slight left turn. And then you have forward 2. So these are all green maneuvers. These are, maneuvers that are very easy for the ship to do. So unlike the X-Wing, their green maneuvers didn't have a sharp turn to the right, sharp turn to the left. Then it's got a turn, of course, the 3s. Then this has a blast forward of 3 on a maneuver. That's pretty, powerful. Or pretty fast. Then it's got the Immelmann 3. And blast forward a green maneuver 4, so this is really fast. And it can go all the way 5. 5 is crazy. That moves really far compared to the other ships. And it also does a 5 Immelmann or U-turn. So there we go. That's the maneuver dial for the A-Wing. Then the next ship we're going to look at is the B-Wing. So this is the B-Wing, which, oops, I dropped it. Which the B-Wing, again, is a really cool looking ship. This one is very powerful, a lot of guns. It flips and turns all around the whole entire battlefield. Alright, and that's the ship, top to bottom. It's got some battle damage. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's a very interesting, very cool looking ship. So we got that. And then here are the pilots. So the first pilot we have is Ten Num. Ten Num has a piloting skill of 8. He's got 3 attack, 1 agility, 3 hull, but 5 shields. That's huge compared to the X-Wing and the A-Wing, with them only having 2 and 2 shields. So it's got more hull and more shields. And it's got a piloting skill of 8, so that's pretty good. Then it's got a front firing arc. Then the second pilot is the Dagger Squadron pilot. The Dagger Squadron pilot is his piloting skills of 4, attack of 3, agility of 1, hull of 3, and shields of 5. So stats are basically the same, but a piloting skill is much less with that pilot. And then the other pilot that comes with a ship is Ibistim. I am sure I'm completely butchering his name, Ibistim. But it's got a pilot skill of 6, 3 attack, 1 agility, 3 hull, 5 shields. And then you got the basic pilot, which is the Blue Squadron pilot, with an agility of 2, attack of 1, agility of 3, or piloting skill of 2, attack of 3, agility, hull, and shields. So overall, pretty good ship. This ship is more of like a just straight up powerhouse ship. It's not, of course, as agility wise as the 2 ships next to it. It is more of you're going to put a bunch of shields or missiles on it. You're going to put a bunch of mines. You're going to put a whole bunch of just firepower. This thing's going to blast things away from super far away. It's not going to try to get in really fast, where this ship is going to try to get in really, really fast, pop off a couple shots, zoom out of the way, come back, hit a couple more times, zoom out of the way, and come back. The X-Wing is just kind of, it's going to hang around and just pound you away with its attack dice, and it's just going to destroy you as fast as possible. This is just your straight up, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can ship. Then we have the Y-Wing. Of course, Y-Wing looks like a Y. Very cool looking ship. This is one of my more favorite ships in the Star Wars universe. I just like the way the ship looks. Looks really cool in the movies. Looks really cool as a miniature. Again, you know, just like all the other ships, super detailed, especially for how small they are. And just like the other ships, they all are detailed right out of the box. You don't have to paint them. So the very first pilot that we have here is Horton Salam, and Horton Salam has an 8 piloting skill. It only has 2 attack dice. It has 1 agility, 5 hull. 5 hull is huge. X-Wing only has 3 hull. A-Wing has 2 hull. And the B-Wing only has 3, so 5, that's big compared to the other ones. It's got almost the same hull as like the Millennium Falcon and the Fire Spray. And then it's got 3 shields, so it's got more shields than the other ships. And then you have the Gray Squadron pilot with a piloting skill of 4, attack of 3, agility of 2 or 1, and hull of 5 again, and shields of 3. So both pilots pretty good. Then the next one you have is Dutch Vendar. And Dutch has a 6 piloting skill, 2 attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, and 3 shields. And then you have the basic pilot, the Gold Squadron pilot with a piloting skill of 2, attack of 3, agility of 2, hull of 5, and shields of 3. So the B-Wing is basically a bomber, or the Y-Wing is kind of a bomber. You put, photon torpedoes on there, just like you saw in, Star Wars: A New Hope. They were going down in the trench run and trying to ship fire off the photon torpedoes. They're not much of a fighter like these 3 ships are. This ship is gonna just bomb away, hit you from far away, shoot a whole bunch of missiles, that sort of thing. So very fun ship, interesting ship to play with. Then the movement dial on this ship, is pretty much the same as all the others. It's just got the one right, one left, the 2s to the left, to the right. It's got the green maneuver forward 2, which is really, really nice. It does have it's got a red maneuver 3, right and left. That stresses out your ship. Where if you notice on the other 3 ships, it didn't have any, except for on the U-turns, Immelman. Then it can blast forward 3, 3 slight turn. Then it's got, of course, the red maneuver. But then if you blast forward 4, this ship takes also, it takes a stress token, because this ship is not a fast ship at all. And it also has the U-turn, just like the other ones, which is a red maneuver too. So it's not a very maneuverable ship compared to these 3. These 3 are much faster ships. This one, the Y-Wing, is a much slower ship. But again, it can equip a lot of missiles, a lot of photon torpedoes. It does high damage. You just don't want to have this ship in the middle of your, fight. You want to have this on the outside. And then lastly, the final ship is the Hawk 290. Now, the Hawk 290 is actually from the expanded universe of Star Wars. This actually came in one of the video games. And in the video game, the main character flew this ship around from planet to planet, and then you've bought stuff. So this is an expanded universe where all the other ships have all actually been in the regular universe. This is the Hawk 290. It's a very, fairly impressive looking ship. A little bit different than the other ones, but that's probably because it came from a video game. It's not actually part of the Star Trek or Star Wars movies. So this is an expanded universe ship. This one is a support craft. It doesn't do a whole lot of attacking. This is all about supporting your fleet. It's going to give buffs. It's going to actually give buff. Like if it's flying in a formation like this ship will give buffs to this ship to make this one more powerful. It can give buffs to the X-Wing to make the X-Wing more powerful. It's an all-around just kind of, it's a buffing ship. It's not going to be something you want to do, you know, bring this into the middle of the fight and fight. That's what you have the X-Wing for. That's what you have the other ones for. This sits in the back. It's buffing everybody, giving everybody some cool, you know, attack and agility buffs and those sort of things. The first pilot that comes with this is Jan Ors. Jan Ors is a piloting skill of 8, so it's not too bad. Pretty good. It's only got an attack of 1. Like I said, it's not an attack-heavy ship. It's a buffing ship. Then it's got a 2 agility, which isn't too bad. It's got 4 hull, which is nice. 4 hull is very good, almost as good as the Y-Wing. But the bad part is it's only got 1 shield. But again, you're not taking the ship into the middle of the fight. This ship is going to stay in the background and let everybody else do the fighting up in front. So this is a background ship. That's why it's only got 1 shield. That's why it's only got one attack. So that's the first pilot. The second pilot is, as soon as it focuses, and that's York Garnett. And York Garnett has a piloting skill of 4. It's got an attack of 1. It's got an agility of 2. It's got hull of 4 and 1 on the shield dice. So that's the first ship, or the first pilot that it comes with. Then the second pilot that comes in the pack is Kyle Katarn. And Kyle Katarn is actually the guy that flew the ship in the video game. And Kyle has a agility of 1, attack of 2, hull of 4, you know, and so on. So pretty much all the same stats there. And then you have the Rebel Operative. This is the basic ship. It's got a 2, you know, piloting skill 1, 2, 4, 1. So it's pretty much all the same, you know, on there. So that is the Hawk 290. And then the Hawk 290's, you know, dial. If I can move this one. This one's stiff. Yeah, this one's a really stiff one. I'm going to have a hard time moving this one. But anyways, this is not a very maneuverable ship. Everything is, you know, red. You know, so you got all these red movements, which means that this ship gets stressed out. It's got a green one, another green to the right, you know, and then it's got a sharp turn 2 to the left, which is a white maneuver. You know, sharp turn to the left, and it'll move forward 2 green, so it's okay doing a forward. You know, then you got the right maneuver 2, and then it's stressed out doing anything above a 2. So you got a 3 is a stress. 3 forward isn't too bad. You know, but then again, you look, now you're going right and left are both stressed. Forward 4 is a stress. You know, and we're back in the 1. So it's not the most maneuverable ship compared to your X-Wing. A-Wing is super, super maneuverable. Your A-Wing. Your B-Wing, not as maneuverable, but this is your heavy-hitting ship. X-Wing is just your all-around good ship. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. You can fly around as Luke Skywalker. Then you got the Y-Wing, you know, which is your bomber. And then you have the Hawk 290, which is your buffing ship. And all these ships are the ships that I have right now. I have multiples of each one, but these are all of my Rebel ships for Star Wars X-Wing miniature game.